The sun rose over the Mississippi, casting a golden hue across the water. The river shimmered like a ribbon of liquid gold, stretching as far as the eye could see. The early morning mist began to lift, revealing the serene beauty of the landscape. Birds chirped, their melodies filling the crisp morning air, and fish jumped playfully, creating ripples that danced on the water's surface. The river was alive with the sounds of nature waking up. It was a perfect day for fishing. The sky was clear, the sun was warm, and the river was calm. The conditions couldn't have been better for a day out on the water. My buddies, Cletus and Bubba, were ready for action. They had been talking about this fishing trip for weeks, planning every detail and dreaming of the big catch.
"We gonna catch a monster today!" Bubba exclaimed, his eyes gleaming with excitement.
Bubba declared, flexing his biceps. He was always the confident one, never doubting for a second that today would be the day we caught the legendary fish. We baited our hooks with extra strong lines today. We were after catfish, big ones. We had heard stories of the giant catfish that lurked in these waters, and we were determined to catch it. Legend said, a giant catfish lived in these waters. It was said to be as big as a small boat, with whiskers that could wrap around a man's arm. We aimed to reel him in. With our lines cast and our hearts full of hope, we settled in for what we knew would be a day of patience, skill, and maybe a little bit of luck. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, casting a golden glow over the serene lake. The water shimmered like a sea of diamonds, reflecting the anticipation in our hearts. We had been out here since dawn, our hopes as high as the sun now blazing above us. Our excitement grew with every tug on the line. Each pull sent a jolt of adrenaline through our veins, making our hearts race faster. We exchanged eager glances, knowing that any moment could bring the catch of a lifetime.
"This is it, the moment we've been waiting for,"
Cletus yelled, reeling with all his might. His muscles strained and his face turned red with effort. The line was taut and we could feel the tension in the air. It was a battle of wills between man and nature. Turns out it was just a boot. We burst into laughter, the tension breaking like a wave. It was a comical reminder that not every tug on the line leads to glory. Then Bubba's rod bent double. The line screamed as it was pulled taut, vibrating with the force of whatever was on the other end. This was no ordinary catch.
"Got him!" Bubba shouted, his voice filled with triumph and determination.
He roared, struggling to hold on. The rod was almost bent in half, and Bubba's knuckles were white from gripping it so tightly. We all held our breath, watching the epic struggle unfold. This was no ordinary fish. It was a behemoth, a creature of legend that had eluded capture for years. Its shadow loomed large beneath the surface, a dark shape moving with powerful grace. This was a fight for the books. We knew that if Bubba could land this fish, it would be a story we'd tell for generations. The excitement was palpable, and we were all on the edge of our seats, cheering him on. The water churned. Something breached the surface. It wasn't a catfish. It had a woman's head and a fishtail.
"What in tarnation?"
Cletus shrieked. The mermaid glared at us.
Y'all trying to steal my purse again?
She yelled, pointing a fin at Bubba. Turns out Bubba's hook had snagged her purse, not a giant catfish. The mermaid, we learned, was named Myrtle. She had a shimmering tail that glistened under the sun, and her hair flowed like seaweed in the gentle waves. Myrtle was a sight to behold, a creature of legend right before our eyes. She wasn't too happy about the purse incident. Apparently one of us had accidentally dropped a purse into the lake, and Myrtle had mistaken it for some sort of offering. She was quite grumpy about the whole misunderstanding, her eyes narrowing as she held the soggy purse. But after Cletus offered her a bag of chips, she calmed down. It was a simple gesture, but it worked wonders. Myrtle's frown turned into a curious smile as she tasted the salty snack. We all breathed a sigh of relief as the tension melted away.
Go north. Plenty of catfish there. And no purses. The old fisherman chuckled as he pointed us in the right direction. His weathered face crinkled with amusement, and we couldn't help but laugh along with him.
Myrtle even gave us a tip about a good fishing spot. She told us about a hidden cove where the fish were plentiful and the water was crystal clear. It sounded like a fisherman's paradise, and we were eager to check it out. We never found that giant catfish. Despite our best efforts, the elusive fish remained just that, elusive. Our nets came up empty, and our hooks dangled without a catch. It was a bit disheartening, but we didn't let it ruin our day. But we learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes the biggest catch is a good story. As we sat around the campfire that night sharing tales and laughing together, we realized that the true treasure was the experience itself. The memories we made and the stories we could tell were worth more than any fish, and maybe, just maybe, a new mermaid friend. Myrtle had become a part of our story, a magical encounter that we would never forget. Who knew that a simple fishing trip could turn into such an extraordinary adventure?